In this video, you'll see how I built the largest remote-controlled battleship in the world. Not only is this thing absolutely enormous, but it also features two fully functional turrets that can spin around and fire giant Nerf darts at the press of a button.
Fire!
We extensively modified the hull, added details, and also built in some hidden features such as a rather neat remote control observation plane designed to transmit video back to the battleship using its built-in FPV camera.
As a kid, I enjoyed making model boats and always dreamed about making one that was absolutely gigantic. And a few months ago, I finally achieved this goal by building the world's largest RC aircraft carrier, which was by far my biggest and most ambitious project to date.
We spent many long weeks designing, building and painting a gigantic foam and fiberglass hull, before fitting it out with a control tower, arrestor wires, and a few hidden features to make our mission more achievable. With help from some onboard FPV cameras that streamed video in real time back to the ground, I could launch a plane, fly it around the lake, and then guide it in for a careful landing.
Missed it, stuck!
This was all extremely difficult, but in the end, we just about managed to pull it off and make a couple of safe touchdowns.
With that mission complete, the question now was what to do with this gigantic model boat that was taking up space at ProjectAir HQ. Well, obviously, we needed to get even more ambitious.
The plan seemed pretty straightforward. We'd convert the aircraft carrier into a battleship with turrets that would be added on top of the deck. We would also build the superstructure, which would go in between the turrets, and this would really help to make this thing look like an actual battleship. The problem is that to make this also the coolest RC boat in the world, we'd have to make the turrets fully functional, meaning they would have to rotate and also fire projectiles, just like a real old-school battleship. To take on such an ambitious engineering challenge, though, required us to break each problem down into smaller steps, so naturally we started with a fun one: the cannons. First, we needed to figure out how to make them work. We could take inspiration from this popular toy, the humble Nerf blaster. A simple Nerf blaster works using some easily understandable principles of physics: energy transfer. When the trigger is pulled, potential energy stored in a compressed spring is rapidly converted into kinetic energy, propelling a piston that compresses air behind a lightweight foam dart, which then launches from the barrel.
Did it have to be my neck?
If we could scale this concept up, we could probably make some supersized Nerf cannons suitable for our giant remote control battleship. So with that, it was off to our local hardware shop to gather materials for our first prototype. We made the darts from foam insulation tubing, which would fit just right inside a PVC barrel.
Oh! Fire!
Instead of using springs to power the cannon, we thought it might be a good idea to use rubber bands instead, as they could be added or removed to regulate the power.
3, 2, 1. That was good. 3, 2, 1. Whoa!
Our tests were providing some encouraging results, but as we increased the power level of the cannon, we soon discovered a slight problem.
What did you just say? How did it feel?
Well, it just suddenly felt a bit crunchy and some stuff came out the end of the barrel, so I think we've had our first failure. Ah, that could be a bit of a problem. The plunger has exploded. Well, it's disintegrated, hasn't it?
Where's the end of it?
That must have come out the end of the barrel.
Clearly, the design needed a bit of work to make it stronger, so as Sam focused on that, I focused on the next problem: modifying the hull and building the giant turrets.
It's not too late to put the gloves on now.
Yeah,
We should carry on.
After removing the overhanging areas of the old aircraft carrier deck, we had the perfect base for our new project, and it was now time to cut out all of the plywood that would be used to assemble the turrets.
So I want to be able to drive this thing when I'm actually on board it. So I want to be able to get inside the boat somehow, which means we need to cut some holes. Oh, yes! Now, if you think that this all looks like I'm building something from a game or a movie, then you might be interested to hear that I've been playing a game recently that's actually sponsoring this video with an ad. You may think that Raid Shadow Legends is a game that's pay to win and has zero strategy, but lately I've been playing it and that's a bit of a misconception. If you're a fan of immersive strategy, breathtaking graphics and intense battles, Raid Shadow Legends is the game for you. Engage in epic PvP battles, explore dungeons and uncover a rich storyline. You can immerse yourself in a world of over 800 heroes that you can collect and customize. What sets the game apart? Well, it's the attention to detail and the constant evolving challenges and the jaw-dropping graphics that bring this world to life. Plus, they've just released some amazing new content with the Cursed City update with 100 stages to complete, including the stages where you'll need to take down 2 of Raid's bosses at the same time. Whether you're a casual gamer or hardcore strategist, Raid Shadow Legends has something for everyone. And guess what? You can play it anytime, anywhere, right from your mobile device. Also, it's not just pay to win. There are many gamers playing through Raid, unlocking content and winning battles completely for free. So if you're not playing yet, then what are you waiting for? There's a link in the description, and also there's a QR code right here that you can click or scan. Oh, and also you can get some insane bonuses only with my link. You will immediately receive 500k silver, energy, and chicken. Oh yeah, and then epic Juliana, who you can get after reaching level 15. Come and find me under the name ProjectAir, join my clan ProjectAir team, and we'll be legends together. So just hit my link in the description, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Thank you so much to Raid for sponsoring this video and for making this whole project possible, and now it's back to finishing off those cannons.
Often with remote control vehicles, functions are controlled by small electronic devices called servos, but hobby grade servos are often quite low powered. To get around this issue, I 3D printed some gears that would decrease the force needed to rotate the turret. After securely fitting a base part to some wood that would act as a pivot for the turret, I could see if this was all going to work.
Oh, that's so cool! Yes! Oh.
By this point, Sam had finished off the second cannon prototype, which had an improved reinforced piston design. Also, now with some rubber O-rings, which would improve the seal with the inside of the tube. Following some extensive testing and tweaking, we went from a range of around 10 meters, which was a bit disappointing, to a range of around 25 meters, which is about the same as a standard Nerf blaster.
That's much better.
Of course, though, we had to make sure all of this would be safe to use at the lake, so after assembling some more darts, we next conducted some more important tests with the help from Emma and Sam.
You can hit anywhere down here.
Alright, we're rolling.
Ready?
Oh, you're pointing like, oh! Right, that's enough. That's enough.
With that out of the way, now we needed to work on the trigger mechanism. I started work on a simple system that used a servo to pull a lever to release the plunger, but the first version turned out to be too underpowered.
Ooh, didn't like that.
After fitting a higher torque servo, we were starting to see some more progress, as the trigger now had enough power to function properly. Finally, after a day or so of tinkering and printing out new parts, we saw a breakthrough.
Yes! It works! Oh my goodness!
With an aluminium hook on the rear of the plunger, the cannon could now be loaded, primed and fired, which was a really big moment for the project.
Yes! Look at that! That was amazing!
Now to assemble the other 3 cannons that would be needed for the boat, which required a lot of 3D printing, assembling and testing.
It's taken absolutely ages to get to this point, but it's finally time to see whether this turret will rotate and fire a cannon. Okay, now aiming. And fire! Yes! I didn't think it was going to work as well as this. That is so cool.
Now we'd we'd achieved the milestone of getting the cannons working, it was time for another fun aspect of the build. During World War I, various navies started to equip their ships with seaplanes, which could be used as observation aircraft. These planes were fitted with floats that allowed them to land and take off from the water, before being winched back up and stored on the boat. So naturally I had to draw up plans for my own RC observation aircraft that could be kept aboard the battleship and launched to fly reconnaissance missions up and down the lake. I started by piecing together all of the electronics, which consisted of an electric motor, electric speed controller, receiver and servos. Super basic RC stuff. Next, time for some foam board on which shapes for the wings were traced and cut out. Now these parts were scored and folded to form a basic airfoil, which would provide the aircraft's lift. Next up, I drew the design for the fuselage, cut it out and glued it together, and it was now starting to look like an aeroplane. This plane had to take off from the water, so I thought it might be a good idea to produce some solid floats from polystyrene left over from some packaging.
This is really messy.
I stuck the floats together using wooden dowels and bits of wire, and soon I had a pretty neat looking float plane with all of the electronics installed. There was one job left to do though, and this was to add the all-important FPV camera to a servo on top of the cockpit.
Hooray, we have a picture.
Just like the planes that were flown from the aircraft carrier, this model plane would also have the ability to stream video back to a pair of video goggles, meaning I could fly it from the cockpit. Right, now the all-important job of seeing whether this plane, dreamt up on a whiteboard with no maths or calculations, would actually fly.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Even with a considerable breeze for this very small aircraft, the plane flew great, which meant that now I just had to line it up into the wind, bleed off airspeed, and try not to smash it up on landing.
It worked. Right, next step.
With the cannons working, both turrets functioning and the superstructure finished, everything was coming together and the world's largest RC battleship was nearly finished. Now all that was left to do was to give the boat one final coat of paint and a few markings to make it really look like a battleship ready for its maiden voyage.
Fire!
Ta-da! It's done! Look at that! Well, this thing is probably the coolest creation I've ever built on ProjectAir. If you want to see this thing on the water for the first time, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, because in the next video, we're going to be testing this out on the water for the first time. The weather's a bit rubbish at the moment, so we're going to have to wait. So make sure to subscribe to the ProjectAir channel so that you don't miss the next video. In the meantime, while you're waiting for this next video to be made, then click this one right here, because I'm sure you'll enjoy that one too. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.